Hello, scholars. Today's manuscript spotlight is on the Great Isaiah Scroll. This is one of the Dead Sea Scrolls and certainly deserves its title of great, being the largest, best preserved, and most complete of the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's been dated to roughly 125 BC, also making it one of the oldest of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Most scholars believe these scrolls were written by the Essenes, a Hebrew sect that may have inhabited the Qumran caves. This scroll was preserved for thousands of years in the arid environment of Qumran, and I hope you're as excited as I am to read it today. The entire Great Isaiah Scroll is available for free online with translation, and I've included a link to this in the description. The Great Isaiah Scroll is written in late ancient Hebrew, which you can see here. The script has some noticeable differences from modern Hebrew, and I find it quite challenging to read, even after having studied Hebrew for several years. I'd recommend noting which letters are similar to each other and making sure you can distinguish them. For me, the ones I often confuse are Bet, Mem, Pe, and Sad. Also He, Chet, Tav, and Samek, as well as Dalet and Resh. Especially while starting off, it helped me to have this chart available as I was reading, and I've included a link to it in the description. If you're familiar with Biblical Hebrew, you'll also notice that no nikud, or vowel markers, are included. These were developed in the Middle Ages and indicate how a Hebrew word should be pronounced, though they're rarely used in modern Hebrew. So for most of my readings today, I'll be using the vocalizations from the Masoretic text. I love the book of Isaiah, so I'm going to be jumping around for readings from a few different passages. I'm going to be starting from the beginning of Isaiah. As you can see, the beginning of the scroll isn't in the best shape, but it's still readable. Let's read. Chazon Yeshayahu ben Amoz Asher Chaza al Yehuda v'Yerushalayim bimei Uzziyahu Yotam Achaz Yehozikiyahu Malachi Yehuda. And now for the translation. The vision, Chazon, of Isaiah, son of Amos, Yeshayahu ben Amoz, which he saw, Asher Chaza, concerning Judah, al Yehuda, and Jerusalem, v'Yerushalayim. And then he goes on to list, in the days of Bimei, Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, the kings of Judah, Malachi Yehuda. Next, I'll move forward to chapter 1, verse 17. Here, we begin to see two of the major themes of Isaiah develop, judgment and justice. The first word of this verse is lost because the scroll has been damaged, but I still wanted to read this passage because I think it's central to the rest of Isaiah. The manuscript reads, Limadu hetev dirashu mishapat, asharu chamotz shifatu yatom rivu alamana. And now for the translation. Learn to do good. Limadu hetev. Seek justice. Dirashu mishapat. Correct oppression. Asharu chamotz. Bring justice to the fatherless. Shifatu yatom. Plead the widow's cause. Rivu alamana. Moving forward a little more, I'll be reading next from chapter 2, verse 4. Judgment was coming on God's people because they failed to do justice, but hope is also offered if they turn and help the oppressed. And here we see a beautiful vision of what Isaiah calls the last days, when people follow God wholeheartedly. V'shafat ben hagoyim, ho kriach ben la'amim ravim. V'kri tatu et charavotam la'itim v'chanitotehem lamazamerot lo yisa goy el goy cherev v'lo yilamadu od milachama. And for the translation, he shall judge the shafat between the nations, bein hagoyim, and shall decide V'ho kriach, disputes for many peoples. Bein la'amim ravim, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares. V'kritatu et charavotam la'itim, and their spears into pruning hooks. V'chanitotehem lamazamerot, nation shall not lift up sword against nation. Lo yisa goy el goy cherev, neither shall they learn. Velo yilamadu, war any more. Od milachama. Jumping forward quite a bit, I'm going to pick up in chapter 40, verse 31. Most scholars agree that Isaiah was written by at least 3 different authors. One pre-exile in the 8th century, corresponding to chapters 1 through 39, one during the Israelite exile in Babylon, corresponding to chapters 40 through 55, and one after the return from exile, corresponding to chapters 56 through 66. It is worth noting that these groupings are far from definitive, with scholars arguing from as few as 1 author to as many as 5 for the book. In any case, my next reading comes from the exilic period of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 31. Here we see another message of hope, this time given to the exiles that God will strengthen and restore them, if they will only wait for him. The manuscript reads, V'koye Adonai yachalifu kokcha ya'alu ever kanasharim yarutzu velo yigau yelakhu velo yiafu. But they who wait for the Lord, V'koye Adonai, shall renew their strength. Yachalifu kokcha, they shall mount up with wings like eagles. Ya'alu ever kanasharim, they shall run. Yarutzu, and not be weary. Velo yigau, they shall walk. Yelakhu, and not be faint. Velo yiafu. For my final reading, I'll read from the post-exilic portion of Isaiah in chapter 58, verse 7. Here we see God is talking about the kind of fasting that he wants. As in our other reading focused on justice, we see God's concern with taking care of the poor, the disadvantaged, and the oppressed. Halo, faros, laraev, lachamecha, va'aniyim, marodim, tavi, bait, ki, tiree, adam, v'khisito, beged, umi basaraka, lo, ti ta'alam. Is it not to share, halo faros, your bread with the hungry, laraev lachamecha, and bring the homeless poor into your house, va'aniyim marodim tavi bait, when you see the naked, ki tiree arom, to cover him with a garment, v'khisito beged. And here I should note that the Masoretic text doesn't include the with a garment, beged. It's only included here in the Great Isaiah Scroll. Continuing on. And not to hide yourself from your own flesh. Omi basaraka lo ti ta'alam. Truly powerful words. I believe this call for justice and the promise of hope is just as relevant today as it was for Isaiah's original audience. I hope you've enjoyed this reading of the Great Isaiah Scroll and have been challenged by its contents. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, and I'll see you again on the next Manuscript Spotlight.